Hello everyone, Josh Silverman from Constantly Calibrating here at PAX West 2018. It's day 0, and we're doing a little interview, tabletop, gameplay, let's play session, hybrid thing. We're testing something out here. I have Chris Michelotti of Foolish Panda Games. We're going to play a little Escape the Fest.
Yes.
So, first off, how's day 0 going for you?
Day zero has been going great. Just got out of the convention center. Everything's looking great. Seems like Indie Mega Booth, which is where I'm going to be spending my first 2 days. Everything seems to be going seamless there. And then, this is my first time exhibiting here, so getting to see the behind the scenes has been really interesting. Yeah,
that was what we were discussing on the way up here.
Yeah.
Kind of like just the idea of, when you're used to being an attendee and suddenly you're on one of the other sides of things, it's very fascinating to see just how wonderfully chaotic exhibiting and all the other backroom stuff kind of is.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you would never imagine exactly how much work would go into even the smallest of booths.
Yeah.
And I've noticed even in a 10-10 space, you'll see teams of 10, 15 people working hard to get that as best as possible.
For sure. Well, let's escape the fest, and you can tell me a little bit about the game while we're kind of going. So,
absolutely,
what is Escape the Fest for people who may not know?
Yeah, so Escape the Fest is it's a set collection. I like to call it an anti-set collection.
Okay.
But it's at its bare bones mechanics. It's a set collection game with take that mechanics, meaning that the game is built just to have fun with people. It's not meant to be a serious game. It's a filler, a light game, however you want to word it. The main objective, you want to have the most points being the items that you've lost over the festival time, and the items that your squad has lost over the time of the festival. You're trying to help people, so there's rewards for helping your friends. There's obvious rewards for being responsible and not losing your own stuff. And so the name of the game is really just points, but the larger picture is trying to capture the chaos of a music festival and getting to experience that from the comforts of your own home.
Fair enough. So, let's get started here. And we're going to just, for people who might just be listening to this, so we're going to be playing a little bit of game. You can find that youtube.com/ConCalPod. We'll be checking out a short game essentially of this.
Yeah, basically, I'm just going to run through what a round could look like. Things to you could look at. So you've got reminders. So everybody who plays the games will have some reminders that are out there that talk about how they need to find their cooler, their hula hoop, their tent. All that stuff's going to be in the festival deck. Mm-hmm. They're going to be worth points when you find them, and it kind of just cycles through as the game goes throughout. And then every round is represented by a day. So you start every game off with a good day card, because every first day of a music festival is going to be a good day.
Sure.
So what a turn could look like, when you start your turn, you have 3 phases, just like any day. You have a morning, an afternoon, and a nighttime phase. In the morning, you're coming out, you're groggy from a night of partying, so you walk out of the tent and maybe, a what did I just card hits you.
Okay.
So you go into a trip and you're like, oh crap, what did I just do? So in this situation, you would have to trash one of your items that you'd already found in your campsite. Campsite being the area that's in front of you as you're playing. That's where you're scoring your points.
Cool.
So after you've done dealing with whatever happens, if it's an item, you can put it straight into play, like you just ran across it. If it's an action, it happens to you, or you can do it to someone else. After you take care of that, then you move on to your afternoon phase. You get 2 actions during the afternoon phase. You can lay down 2 items. You can play items onto the reminder cards. You can play action cards onto other players. So if you had one of these in your hand, you can be like, what did you just do? And then they have to trash something as well. Knock out 2 things. You go to your nighttime phase. nighttime phase is just going to be when you draw back up to your max hand size or discard down, and you can also rearrange things in your campsite to get ready for the next day.
Okay.
So yeah, it's pretty simple in that regard. So.
All right, so then how long is a round? Is a round a day, or is it a longer amount of time?
Yeah, so a round would be however many turns the game is, how many players are there.
Gotcha.
Generally, what you're going to be looking at is about, so if you play 10 rounds, you're probably going to be looking at, a minute per person. So I would say, if you had 4 people, it's 4 minutes a round.
Yeah, sure.
So I mean, you're really looking about 30 minutes. It's really quick.
Yeah, it sounds like a quick, easy to digest kind of game.
Exactly. So for example, let's go ahead and pull out some extra cards here. So you've got different things. So you have action cards, like I mentioned earlier, you can play onto other people. You also have reaction cards. So there's different types of ways that you can also interact within the game, even if it's not your turn. You've got your classic ones. You'll see a lot of people doing like a lot of negate reactions, like I'm going to cancel, what you just did. I decided to move away from that, and that would be like the typical card would be like here. Sorry.
No, you're good.
All right, so like right here, you've got a F that. Someone plays an action card onto you, you can be like no, and then you redirect it.
Gotcha.
So basically forces the player to say, well, then I have to choose someone else. So they don't feel like their turn's being wasted, but you're still protecting yourself.
Makes sense.
But yeah. So there's that. But yeah, so like let's say you're playing the game. As you're playing, you put down a squad member. You're hanging out with a squad member. So like Foolish Panda right here, who is kind of like my namesake.
Yeah. It's your card.
Yeah, that's my card. That's how I decided to get myself, into some kind of print. Base it off of me and my rave name from my rave days. So then you have like special item slot, and you get more items up in here. And then like I was saying, like your goal is you're wanting to collect unique items, as the game progresses.
Okay.
But
that's really cool. So then, what's ultimately your end goal? What's the win state, I guess?
Yeah. So the win state is just whoever has the most points. There are in the current game, because you ask somebody, is the game ever really finished? And I feel like every designer would always say no. You always want to be able to fine tune things, and thankfully, I'm still far enough away from the projected Kickstarter date that
Gotcha.
I'm still doing a little bit of fine tuning, but the main ender is for these rounds you choose however many days you want to play.
Gotcha.
And I did that on purpose because I wanted people to be able to choose the option of playing a short game, because like I love long games, but I know they're not for everybody.
No.
And so, especially if you're at like a music festival, or if you're at something where you only have like 10 minutes to kill, throw out, a game, put in maybe 3 days, and then just run with it. Count up your points and see who wins at the end of it.
All right. So you got that versatility essentially, where you can just kind of play with things, change up kind of your rules a little bit, so that you can fit in games, or you can go a little bit longer if you want to. Exactly.
And I wanted to try to make this as easy as, for people to just take in, and they could also, when they get home, they can create more house rules if they so desired. Like, there's only 15 days currently right now. But if you want to go through and recycle the deck again, sure, go, be my guest. That's totally awesome. And so that's but like I was saying, even the way it was designed, when we designed the user experience, we thought about where people would be playing this. And so even how we designed it to where people can play it on a very small table like this, actually. So
yeah, when I was first setting up this interview, this table extends out, and I'm like, I have no idea what this game's going to be like. Is this table going to be too small? Like, what are we looking for kind of here?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so right here, like this can literally be one person playing, and then right here, just pretend those are items for right now, but
Sure.
that's 2 people playing. And you can still be playing a full game on this small table.
So you could play essentially on a tray table on an airplane?
Tray table on an airplane, or as I always like to pitch it, is like you could play it on the lid of a cooler. You know,
so you could escape the fest while you're at a fest.
Escape the fest while you're at a fest. Exactly.
Awesome. That's really cool. I like the idea. So, kind of transitioned a little more into discussing the game than an actual play session as originally, but still, I'm really curious about like the functions of things. So,
for sure,
where'd the art style idea come from?
Actually, so the artist, her name is Ashley, and she's freaking amazing. But when I sat down with her the first time, I said I wanted to bring Roman art from like the old school like pottery.
Okay.
I wanted to bring Roman art to today, Greco-Roman art. And so like how I would do that was by, instead of like the black characters where they would highlight just their facial features or maybe like the colors they're wearing or the clothes they're wearing, make them neon and make them bright, make it something that would speak to the rave culture specifically. But more importantly, like I would argue millennials overall. Like we have a fascination with color because of when you look at like the 90s and the 80s, like that's all we were exposed to. And so we're keeping that going for sure. And so like all the squad members that you run across, kind of like in the old style of art, where you'd see gods or heroes, these people, they represent genres of music. They represent like the feelings that are evoked out of various music. So like, Sundrop right there is a very Afro punk, alternative type feel, where Eric is going to be more of like your fist pumping, big house bro.
Sure.
So
that's cool. I like that it's kind of very emblematic of the different styles. Because I mean, you say I'm going to a music festival. That's such a broad based thing, That can mean to one person, To me, growing up, when I think of a festival, I think of like Warped Tour and stuff like that. I think of the more punk kind of things. Well, a lot of people I know festivals these days are more EDM and that kind of rave kind of culture and things of that nature. So it's everyone has their own different mindset of it. So it's good that you have this appeal to the different stylizations and genres.
Yeah, absolutely. And so there's actually a character in here named Sheila May, and she is going to be your down home like country music festival type of girl. And the hope is that this game can catch on, that I can start to design more expansions that are actually based around other music festivals out there. Like I would love to do like a heavy hard goth rock type festival with just blacks and grays and whites.
Yeah.
And my goal would be you can play them together. Yeah. So then you can have both those types of cards just like clashing at each other, which would be awesome.
That'd be really cool. Yeah, because kind of trying to maintain your stylization that you have here with this bright colors, but to bring in that that darker, those blacks and whites kind of colorization and keep it those still like looking that same style would be really cool. And then
absolutely
playing off each other.
Yeah, and all the art is as you play through another thing, all the art's very much told through a POV perspective.
Okay.
And so like I wanted to make sure that the players would feel like they were actually there. Like they could imagine themselves actually being at the music festival. So like this is them holding their hand as their hand is floating off into the universe for whatever reason.
Make your own assumptions.
Yeah, make your own assumptions there. But and there's a lot of like, there's some puns in there too. Like we've got play pass.
Oh no, I picked that card up immediately and I was like, oh, go on. Do tell, good sir.
Well, I mean, we're in Seattle,
You're in Seattle.
West Coast is a purely legal environment, so it's a lot of fun out here.
for sure. So on the game itself, you mentioned your plans to go towards Kickstarter.
Yes.
So if you could talk about where are you at, and you're kind of, do you feel in your production leading into that?
Yeah, as you're seeing right here, there's really not going to be a lot of changes.
Sure.
The fine-tuning that's going to be coming in, like last night I played with a group of people. There's a group of us in Seattle. They're just tabletop game designers. It's a great group of people. And played it with them and just really focusing on score evaluation, how this game ends, how to decide the winner, not putting too much emphasis on, maybe just the squad items. Like, if I make these meaningless, then why would I even have it?
Sure.
So, like, little bits of fine tuning here and there, but this game is like, it's ready to go. I mean, it's arguably ready to go.
Sure.
But I just want to make it the best that it can be before it goes. We're building up our social media presence. That's the big thing right now, is just marketing, advertising, make sure people understand that it's out there. They can learn more about it. And, hopefully, the goal is April of next year. That's the dream.
Okay.
But within that same token, the industry is, the board game industry especially, like, is just constantly changing and in a lot of flux right now. And so I may be a situation where I decide that maybe self-publishing isn't the best route, and maybe finding a co-publisher,
sure,
or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, with I think any business, particularly the gaming side of things, whether you're doing tabletop and board game, kind of card game stuff, or the video game side,
for sure,
you always have to be on your toes as an independent person,
Absolutely.
learning every aspect of what's available to you. Because this year, self-publishing is the way to go. Next year, co-publishing. The following year, neither of those are even viable at all. You
right.
have to get a major publisher. Like, I mean, every 6 months to a year, there's a whole entire overhaul in this industry.
Absolutely. And that's kind of where I'm at now, is just kind of looking at everything where, maybe if I did this last year, would have been fine,
sure,
just self-publishing, running through Kickstarter. But now it's getting to the point, like you were just saying, maybe I need to find a bigger publisher just to have their name kind of associated with it, because there's a lot of talk about this on various Facebook groups. But every time somebody comes into Kickstarter and then just totally screws everything up, it makes it that much harder for first-time creators.
I mean, we've done podcasts time and time again on the Kickstarter and crowdfunding culture, and the fact that every person who's ever done anything with crowdfunding, whether they, for the people who have, put money into it, we all have that, like, one or two item story where it's just like, I'm never gonna fucking see that thing, am I? Where just you accept the fact, or wow, I spent $100 on, wait, what was that again?
Right.
So we all have those stories, of either somebody putting up their campaign and running off, which screws over everyone, or the person or the people who over donate to these campaigns and then get burned out on the idea because they don't know what they're doing anymore. So
exactly,
the crowdfunding market's a terrifying thing. As someone who has a couple things that might be crowdfunding the next couple of years, it's a horrifying thing to think about.
I wish you the best on that one, for sure.
It's all the wonders of this marketplace.
Absolutely. It's the difficult one.
So yeah, I guess the final thing is just, so we've talked about expectation.
Yes.
But, where can people, as of right now, find out more about Escape the Fest, or just keep track of development?
Yeah. So actually, there's quite a few different locations. So you've got foolishpandagames.com. That's going to be where you can just keep track of me.
Sure.
And kind of what I'm doing. Escapethefest.com. That's where you're going to be able to follow all this stuff here. But then you can find us, as far as Escape the Fest is concerned, you can find us Instagram, and Facebook. And then for Foolish Panda Games, just the basic social media stuff.
Basic social media. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. Well, thank you for showing off the game.
Absolutely.
I wish we'd been able to figure out more of a ability to play, but
it's totally fine.
But the explanation of the game and the understanding of it, I appreciate it. I'm sure people, while listening and watching, I'm sure the people listening appreciate the fact that we didn't actually play a game. In all honesty.
No, I get that
to an extent. But yeah, so thank you very much for joining and for our first interview of PAX West. It's been a fun little start for day zero. So.
Yeah, no, this is my first interview like this way too. So thanks for welcoming me in and letting me cut my teeth.
Yeah, you got a good set of nice little thing here. That being said, for anyone who's interested in more Constantly Calibrating content, you go to constantlycalibrating.com, youtube.com/ConCalPod is probably where you're watching this. We stream regularly throughout the week on mixer.com/ConCalPod. And pretty much if you look up Constantly Calibrating or ConCalPod, you're going to find us. With that, I bid you a good sign off.